Morning, everyone. Call the meeting of Morris County Fiscal Court to order, January 15th, 2016. On our agenda, guest Bill Gibson, from the Marshall County Building Code Enforcement Board, Plan Review.
Judge, committee members, you've got some information with you. There's two sheets. We're proposing to change the fee for storage on our Marshall County Building Code. The first sheet you have here on top it says Marshall County Building Electrical Office. If you'll go down to almost the bottom of the top column, it shows that storage is 15 cents per square foot for the plan review and inspection fee. On the next page, it says Marshall County Building Office is what we would like to change it to. If you look through the pink lines there, storage is still 15 cents per square foot. But drop right down below that, and it says post-frame construction for storage buildings over 25,000 or 2,500 square feet shall be 15 cents per square foot for the initial 2,500 square feet and 6 cents for the additional square footage. This means that if you're building a storage building and you've got more than 2,500 square feet, the permit will be a little bit less. The inspectors had stated that when they do a post-frame building, this fee just applies to the post-frame building. If you're building a metal building or a two-story masonry building or whatever and it's storage, you would still pay the 15 cents per square foot. On a post-frame building, most of the time the inspector can get out there with 2 trips. On the commercial side, the post frames are usually already pre-engineered, so he just has to make sure that it's according to the code and verify that that it has been built according to the engineer's specifications. On a 30 by 60 post frame building, which is a pole barn, you know, that you see in a lot of people's yards now and on commercial projects also. A 30 by 60 doesn't even get past the 2,500 square feet. But if you go to a 40 by 100 square foot, that gets you, the fee now would be $600. If we change this, the fee would become $465. And on a 40 by 150 foot post building, our fee now would be $900. And if we change it, it would be $685. The reason for this reduction is obviously that it doesn't take the inspector that long to look at this, and we felt that it wasn't fair to charge the owner or the builder $900 to come out there 2 times. There's some plan review and there's some other things that go on that eat up most of that money, but as pole barns get bigger, then this will play more of a part. Of course, we're a pretty new board, as most of you know. We started last fall, and I don't think this is going to affect the financials of our board. So far this year, we've written Casey's written 133 permits. We've collected $86,762.19 worth of income. We've completed 32 jobs, and we're working on 106. I just don't think that this fee reduction would be significant when Emily says we don't have enough money. I don't think we can blame this. And if some point, if the fees are not, we don't have a budget this year because we didn't have anything to go off of, and we should have something for the court next year that we can start out with. If the fees have to be raised, they need to be raised across the board, and this reduction in the post-frame building would still be there. You know, it might change the 6 cents to 8 cents, but it needs to be, it still needs to be that reduction. We don't need to be charging people more than what it's worth. But keep in mind that it's just storage buildings and post-frame storage buildings. Any questions?
Any questions?
Bill, is the program, the way the state set it up, the 80/20, is it paying for itself, or maybe I need to direct that towards Emily?
We're working through that. I think we've
I mean, it's
used up.
probably too early to tell.
Yes, we are, and you know, it's basically been just taking care of it since October.
Right.
But yes, the residential end seems to be coming in better than we expected when we talked about it.
Right.
But still, at the same time, I don't think the residential end is ever going to catch up with what it takes. But when you take the commercial end and put it with that, then at some point, it's going to help. Yes. I think we have used up most of our money now, but we're.
But it's at least in the ballpark. I know when the state mandates, you know, the program, their figures don't always jive, but they're pretty close. It's ballpark, or it has been our experience thus far,
Emily writes a check.
as far as we can tell.
We were pretty close when we set up because we didn't have a lot of money to go off of then.
Right.
And
It is a guess.
They they continue to bring in income for that, and the inspectors are being paid at 80% of that, minimum. Randy has a agreement with us.
Right.
For an ongoing
Right.
payment. But I did settle up Randy at the end of the year, and we did owe him a little bit more to get him up to that 80%. So we did pay him that out the end of December. When we got going, it was kind of tight because Casey needed a lot of stuff to set up this office.
Right.
So, but they are managing to take care of themselves at this point.
But is that the residential numbers, or is that residential and commercial
It's
together?
residential and commercial combined.
So the mandate by the state, the 80/20 for residential, doesn't take care of the program, actually.
Probably not.
That's what I mean, it takes the commercial to which we were already doing, but the commercial end of it, that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's what my concern had been. But
Yeah.
as long as we can manage to keep the,
Yeah.
you know, enough
Yeah.
dollars in there, we're okay. But anyway.
Yeah,
I
but-
didn't appreciate the state mandate, the way it came down.
Right, yeah. Casey
Anytime.
and the board have been very good stewards of that. Casey's pretty tight. He doesn't buy anything unless he absolutely has to have it.
That's good.
He hadn't got anything to buy it with.
Very good.
Any other questions about the board since,
I guess if we go with the motion, we have to figure a date when this would occur, when
Well,
this change.
let me intervene, Judge, if you don't mind. Since this would, the court action setting this fee schedule is ordinance number 2014-01. What I would suggest is that you consider this a first reading for that to amend that ordinance. And then when you vote on, and when you have your second reading, you will then, the motion would include when the effective date would be.
I'll move that we follow the direction of the county attorney and do so and consider this first reading and as stated.
Second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
What about a suggestion about what date, we're gonna put a date on it in second reading? We need to get
Let's
input
see,
from
we got-
Bill as far as,
The next court date,
February 1st.
February 1st, I think Johnny's out of town. Is that right?
Next meeting, I won't be here.
It doesn't matter to me if we want to do it February 1st, or I think it's the 16th.
The timing is strictly up to you guys.
Won't we do it the 16th? That'd be fine. That way Johnny will be back.
16, is that all right for you,
February
Bill?
16th.
Yeah,
And I will anticipate that, do you have a suggestion as to the effective date?
That's what my question was.
The-
I didn't know if you had three
No, we're
projects
just
that-
bringing this before you. If you want to accept it, then that's great. You guys figure out how
Well,
to.
I will assume, for the record, that the effective date will be upon passage on the 16th unless the motion says otherwise at the time.
Okay.
Any more questions from me? Thank you.
Next on the agenda with guest, Larry Witt.
I did leave all of you a packet with, in our past courts, TVA had suggested that they would like to pay for a fishing pier at Big Bear with a sidewalk going out to it. I did go out and get you some estimates. I think TVA had agreed to around $21,000. The bids came in a little under that, so that would also help pay for some of the sidewalk. But I wanted to give you those bids, and then, of course, it's strictly up to the court whether they want to sign the contract with TVA on going forward with that contract with TVA.
The bids, this just came in this morning. I would like to, did you get the copy?
Of the bid, we all have a copy, Judge.
I know, mine was,
Oh,
I was told this was not going to be brought up today on the agenda. Here. and
Well, it doesn't have to be brought up, it's just, I wanted you to know that I did get those bids, and then y'all can discuss it, and then we can decide.
If you looked at
Later.
the bids, and do they meet the specs?
Yes, they all meet
On
the
each
specs.
of the three.
One did come under the 20,000. So I asked Jeff, if we had to formally go. I went to everybody that builds docks in Marshall County and gave them the specs, and I got 3 back in. But mainly, that's just for your information, so y'all can discuss that and decide whether you want to go forward with this, and then we need to let TVA. You'll have to sign the contract, so it'll be strictly up to you on that. The second thing I had was in February, we usually put out mowing bids for the county. We have 34 properties that we do a mowing bid on. So it needs to be in the paper probably the 1st of February. So I thought today I'd ask for permission to go ahead and put that in and run it for a couple weeks. And then by the end of February, because they start mowing in March, so we need to get that out.
I wanted to go to these locations this week. I missed that opportunity. But are there any concerns or any questions regarding the locations as far as, that's my.
Right.
I want to go see exactly what we're mowing.
I did take Rick around yesterday. He did go and showed him all the different properties. He questioned some of them. I have no answers for those
Sure.
because when I became park director, we were mowing those properties.
Right.
And then a year after we started, we bid those out. So they've always been properties that the county's taken care of. I have no say-so on which ones we do, which ones we don't. So
Sure.
if you would like to go and inspect those properties, I'll be more than glad to take you before we put the bids out. We just need to get them out because by the middle of March, we do need to start mowing.
Right. I would like to do that.
Okay?
I think everybody needs to
Well-
take it. Bob probably knows, but I had no
Most
idea.
of them.
I had no idea, but it's a 4.5-hour mission to go on, but interesting. But I just had some questions about, you know, what the county's involvement in some of these, and like I say, they were just there when
Right.
when Larry took over.
My schedule, I'm gonna be out of town. I can go anytime. On the weekend, you just let me know.
Okay.
We'll get together after this, but I do want to go look at these
I'd love for you to,
locations.
yeah.
Yeah. So after court, just come with me, and then anybody else that wants to go and look
Right.
at them.
And it is, we just drove to them only, and just showing where it was, and it's about 4.5
Right.
hours just to get around to all of them.
Exactly.
'Cause it's
And
from one end of the
that's
county to the other.
that's not dilly-dallying at
It's-
the locations. That's just going in,
Right.
circling, and
Yeah. Okay.
All right?
Can I make
Oh,
one suggestion?
I got one question, going back to these quotes. Is there any deadline on the TVA, help that we may get? And then is there any deadline on these quotes?
Actually, the deadline was December 31st, I think, but he extended it because I told him that we wouldn't sign the contract until we got quotes to make sure that we weren't going to be out money as a county for this. So they've kind of extended it. They're ready to sign. He hadn't really set a cutoff date, except that it should have already been signed. So the quicker we can act on that, we probably need to.
That's what kind of what I was thinking. There was some kind of deadline associated with this. And then the bids, I don't see any real deadline on them, but I mean,
No.
sooner we can act, if we decide we want to do it.
And if you'll notice too, on the
Need to
low
be done.
bid, they even put on there that they would be willing maybe even donate more of that since they are in county and would like to, you know, to be a steward of the county and maybe even get it even lower, so.
well, is it my understanding that the $21,000 that they're going to provide can be, some of that leftover, since it's under, it can be used for sidewalks and
Right,
so
we'll have to put a
forth?
sidewalk out to it, which we were going to assume,
Which-
do. The county was gonna do the sidewalk.
Right.
They were gonna pay for the fishing pier and the walkway, but since it came in under, we might even have enough to do the whole project without being out a dime, so.
Well, the ones that
Please
they've
buy
already
the
done, it's
concrete.
almost a no-brainer for me that the ones that they've already done that we looked at yesterday are very nice.
Yes.
You know, structures, and, I mean, first class, and where this one, when you showed me where this one was gonna go, and it's likewise very
Right.
nice.
Well-
It's something we could, I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't be good to move on this if we can get comfortable with it.
I agree, if you know, unless we want to wait till everybody has a chance to look at it, but I mean, it's, if you've seen that some of the other structures, the like structures at Sled Creek and you know, it's,
Got one at Sled Creek, and there's one at Wesley Village also.
yeah.
He also put on his quote that it does not include unforeseen price increases, so we probably need to act on
Right.
this while he's got his price locked in.
This is actually old business. If we want to put it as old business, then if you want to entertain a motion, because that's the only thing we were waiting on.
Right.
I would move that we move forward with
Lowest
accepting the help from TVA and accepting the low bid here if it meets the specs, and Larry says it does.
And I assume you've received that contract. I think they emailed it to you. Directly to
did?
you, TVA,
Moore?
Nick Morris.
No. Now, was it before the new year? I'd have to go back and look.
'Cause I think we talked about, you
I
had
got
received it, and I told you
I
to
got a
hold
hard
off.
copy. I've got a hard copy of it, so it must have been
Okay.
emailed, yeah. Yep. So if you want to entertain a motion,
I think Bob made a motion, I'll second the motion if there's no other second. We've had time to study it and review it.
I'll contact Mr. Morris after court and let him know that we're going to proceed.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks, Judge.
Just get with
Well,
me
back
after.
on the mowing, what I was going to suggest, if he's having to, by waiting and viewing these, it's going to put time pressure on getting those bids, or getting those ads out for the bids, you could go ahead and advertise for it. Just, and then if you change your mind and take some off or whatever, you could
Change it
Jack-
later.
Well, as long as we've got
you
those
know,
bids
well-
out by the middle of February, so it can run 2 weeks, and then we can get it approved that first court meeting and open the
You
bids
said-
in first court meeting in March, because we start mowing March
That-
14th.
Okay,
So
so if you got, if we met
We've
on
got
the
a couple
6th
of weeks that I can get
We
with
met on
Kevin.
the 16th.
First,
Oh, that's right, we're meeting on the 1st.
if you just want to do the advertisement.
Okay. So you might be able to talk about it on the first.
Right. Okay. I'll get with you after court then, and we'll set up a date.
Let's see, next on the agenda, we don't have any correspondence. Under,
Judge, I think you got a gentleman who wants to address the court.
yes, sir. Can you state your name, please?
Good morning. My name is James Coley, resident and co-owner of 300 White Dove Lane, Gilbertsville, here in Marshall County, Kentucky. 2 days before Thanksgiving, my spouse, sitting right here, was run off the road, Little Bear Highway, right at the Timmons Lane curve. The curve has been identified as a dangerous curve. The accidents on record at the time of his accident of record was the number 6th in a 5-year period. And we all know the reality that not every accident has a police report. So there's the ones that are reported and all those that are not. I'm a tenacious advocate when something hurts me or mine. So I went to the judge executive's office. My first meeting was contentious. I was told, we'll see, by our judge executive and his deputy judge. We'll see. Since then, number 7 happened just this past Sunday night. Same road, same space. That was over a month since they were first informed that that was a dangerous spot that needed some improvement. This morning, driving past that spot, there's been the addition of 2 small signs on the same curved arrow signs that are 2 whole tenths of a mile away from the approach to said curve. They're not close enough. That's been pointed out to them as well. The addition of those 2 little signs was the suggested reduced speed of 35 miles an hour to take that curve, rather than the posted 55 miles an hour speed limit. That sign is on Little Bear Highway, just as you're going past the Bethel Baptist Church. 55 miles an hour to take those dangerous curves. Okay? I went there asking for something, anything to be done to improve that curve. And so I thank you, and Mr. York, to your department as well. My question now is, was it too little too late? Is that too little too late? That curve is still dangerous. The signs are still too far back from the curve, 0.2 of a mile, that's too far back. The top edge of the high side of that curve, the edge of the asphalt pavement, creates a lip that once someone's front tire goes over that lip, they cannot correct and get back in their own lane and stay there without overcorrecting and ending up in the front yard of the man and woman that live in the house right inside the curb for 25 years. That, by the way, their statement was, quote, "The sound of accidents outside our windows is regular," unquote. Why is the sound of another auto accident outside anyone's window in this county regular? I thought I was taking up residence in a good community. The judge executive's response time to this request for improvement, why did it take over a month? Are we not a better, more compassionate, alert community than that? I thought we were. I want to believe we are. Do we care that little about our residents, voters, taxpayers? Those 2 little signs That's a step in the right direction, but it's a very small step, I venture to say. I do venture to say also that we can be better than that. We can improve our county roads. And when someone like myself, and there will be more, come to these county offices with an injured family member that was injured due to one of these county roads, and we know exactly how this can be improved, and we tell you, hey, this can be better. Nobody else has to get hurt. Why does the response time have to take so long and hurt yet another person, have yet more property damage that happened this past Sunday night after I had already informed them twice since his accident? Why is our response time for this county so slow? Why is it so menial? I present to you these questions as being valid questions that need to be taken up by this body. We can do better, can't we? And once again, Mr. York, thank you for your department's response by putting up those 2 small signs that reduce the speed on that curve to 35 miles suggested. I appreciate that, and so do all of the residents. But we can do more. We can create a better shoulder on that curve and other curves. We can create better signage that's just as inexpensive. Every municipality, every government body has budget constraints. We get it. But the cost of those little signs is so menial. Waiting on those 2 little signs until after this past Sunday's accident, was it worth it? Think about these things, will you, please? The lives of our residents depend upon it, from old to young. This is our responsibility. Do we take it seriously? The slowness with which this county reacted to this one problem does not bode well for that question. We can do better, and I thank you for your time.
We can do better in how we deliver our message. The accusations are not accurate, and I'll tell you why. The timely manner when that was presented to my office, it was discussed. Those signs that were put up were directed out of my office. To take the information received, the 6 numbers you got, I'm assuming you got from the Sheriff's Department, is that correct?
No, I got it from your deputy.
Okay, which we got from the Sheriff's Department. Those 6 accidents, there's actually more information in the KY Ops. We tried to get as much information as we could for that roadway. That used to be a state roadway. Now it's a county roadway. The signage that was already out there was already out there. We talked to Russell's office as far as putting up those advisory signs. That was the first step that we could do. The time, there really isn't a time. You can't nail down a time in a situation like this. It is an issue. You've talked to the county attorney's office. I've talked to the county attorney. You've talked to the sheriff's department. If not, I have talked to the sheriff's department. I've even gone further and talked to the PAD office to get more detailed information from KY Ops. I got all the information that we could get so that we could take action on this. I even went as far as getting the actual accident report because of what you said. It's one side. I have to get both sides of every issue. In that accident report does not state anything about a utility vehicle. So we go off of the information that we have received. We're here to help. But no, we're here to help. This here is not a good way to do business. We heard you. I've heard you scream at my deputy judge, but that's fine because we deal with people, and dealing with people, we all comes in shape and sizes. But the way we do business, I'm going to get all that information that I can get before I make a calculated decision. And the first thing that we could do was put those signs up.
And I appreciate that.
And in the future, if you have issues, like you did, you came to us, you came to every party that was involved. But this today, this is not a good way to do business. You can come to the court. You are free to come to the court, but bring all the information, just like we do. That's all I ask, okay?
All I ask is that the process gets speeded up a little bit so that there didn't need to be a seventh accident, which is now history. It's now a historical fact. Why did that seventh accident have to happen when I had already informed you twice?
Sir, I've talked to the road department. We talked about that accident. The conditions during that time frame, if you remember, we had icy conditions. Our roads, when you have an occupant driving a vehicle, those advisory signs are there. If it's ice on the road,
It wasn't Sunday night.
then you have to slow down. I'm just saying, there is a responsibility that the driver of a vehicle has to maintain. We do our best as a county to put those advisory signs out there. On that roadway, there were other signs with speeds listed. That curve didn't have any. We put speed listed, advisory speeds on that curve.
I
Now,
understand.
there is a responsibility for an operator of a vehicle. We cannot sit here and control somebody who is operating a vehicle. There is a responsibility.
Absolutely. But when did the
we are
sign
gonna
go
do-
up? When did the reduced speed limit sign for that curve go up? Past this Sunday or prior?
That's not the issue.
Yes, it is.
For you,
The
it is.
timing is the issue. You were informed about it prior to the accident Sunday, but the reduced speed limit signs did not go up until after that accident. It's number 7.
Okay.
His was number 6, you were informed, and didn't do anything until after number 7. That's my issue, sir.
Okay. Well, we've done everything that we could do to get those signs up in a timely manner.
And now I'm asking to do it faster.
Okay.
So that less people get hurt, hopefully.
The court has heard you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. On old business, approve the minutes. You've got a copy of the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes, Judge.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Kerry Landing. Last meeting, we discussed about a public hearing.
Yes, we have had the opportunity to go through it. There's still a couple things that the petition needs, and we're going to email that out. Yeah, my suggestion would be one of two options. One is to look at it again on the 1st to see if everything's ready to set the hearing and appoint the board, or set the public hearing out enough that maybe these things can be taken care of before then. One of those two.
Do y'all have any questions? I looked at, I know Johnny's out February 1st, to make sure that we communicate, because Miss Pat was the one that filed the petition, to make sure we communicate with her, to make sure, and I don't see her.
Yeah, she's back here.
Is she back? Miss Pat's here.
Back there.
To make sure if there's any issues or questions that we have, to communicate with her. March, if,
That's what we're going to, if you would leave your email address with Ms. Stevenson here, I will forward those to you. Just a few questions and some things we need to address.
that'll be forward. March, I don't know the next, what's the date in March? They may have that.
March 1st.
So March 1st? Okay.
I know I'm not supposed to speak, but I'm going to be like that man that just walked out. Timely. Our road, the one road that goes in and out of our subdivision, is going to fall in before March 1st. And when it does, I hope I'm not the one on it, because it's whoever it will be killed. So we're talking timely here.
Yes, Ms. Beatles, we've talked about this, and just so the court understands, this is a private road. We can't take equipment on private roads. Now, there was an emergency situation in the past that I was told where our road department did come out and do some work to that structure.
And got in trouble for doing it.
Well, the point is we're trying to work. We can't just, we don't have a magic wand. We can't make it happen. I know that's not what you want to hear, and we've discussed this.
What are you going to do when somebody is killed?
Ma'am, it's the situation that we have is you have a private road. We can do everything that we can do, but I can't come out there and build a bridge and pave it. There are steps that have to be taken. There are measures that have to be met. The county attorney just advised he will get you that information. We're moving forward. The time, we have to do things to move forward.
But we have an emergency situation.
We've gone out there and we've looked. I've actually went out to your road.
I know you have.
I've seen it several times.
I know you have.
And we are moving this forward. This issue has been the issue of getting your roads, your private roads, paved and taken into the county maintenance has been ongoing for years.
I know that.
Since I've come to office, I think we've moved further than it ever has moved further. Would you agree with me on that?
Well, of course you have, because I have, never mind. Go ahead.
But my point is that we're here to do the right things. Your private road, that section with the culverts, is in bad shape.
Oh, terrible.
No one here disagrees with that.
All right.
But there are steps that have to be taken.
Well.
And we're taking them. I ask you to just...
But why can't we take them and get us on the docket for February instead of March?
We've got February 1st, we're going to be down a commissioner. I want everyone involved to be here.
I see.
He's reviewing. He's going to send you the information.
All right.
There are some things that you're going to have to do, and that information he's going to send to you. It's given you enough time to take care of those issues.
Now,
because
if
I can do it in February.
If what he's talking about involves, like it was years ago, where I have to contact every single lot owner in that subdivision, it isn't going to happen.
I don't know what
That is not the case. But there are certain requirements in this court's resolution that have to be met in regard to documentation, and that's all I'm going to be asking for.
Yes. Now, by setting it early, it puts you at a disadvantage. I'm trying to work with you. If you would just work with us.
Like I said, when the road goes.
I agree. It's an issue. That's why we're working it.
Okay.
You know, as far as the asphalt, Judge, I mean, if everything was a go right now, who's going to lay the asphalt? Jim Smith, contracting and light contractors.
They're not.
Their doors are closed right now.
Right.
I mean, even if all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed, you know, that's out of our hands. They do 99.9% of the asphalt work, and you know, they're closed. If the weather does not allow them to.
They operate based off the weather, and they shut down.
I understand that,
yes.
but we're talking now even a meeting in March, whereas maybe it could be poured in March, asphalted in March. See what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay.
When they open.
Yeah, that's true.
We were at the appointment of identifying a public hearing date for Cary Landing? Was it March 1st? Okay. I believe in the past, we identify the road review. I know consistently we'll use Casey, Bobby Gifford, Russell, and Josh Tubbs. We'll use them as the road reviewers.
I think it is April the 1st anyway, before Jim Smith opens up.
Yeah.
You're gonna set the hearing for March 1st, say 10:30 or?
10:30.
At that point, or as soon as we can.
Yeah. I believe everyone's going to be here. March 1st. Okay.
Well, if you set it at 10, you'll have to start it at 10:30.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Even
we
if
can
you
set it,
finish
then
it.
we'll,
You could go, push it back as
recess
you
and
run, but
whatever.
yeah.
Okay, we'll recess and go into the hearing. Okay, that sounds
Yeah.
fine.
Because we actually have one today at 10:30. Okay. Any other questions on that? All right, new business. Looking at the bylaws of the E911, when I say they, the board, I see Brian, you're here. They were wanting to amend the bylaws and the ordinance. Well, in reviewing their existing bylaws, it was brought to my attention that, one, they weren't in compliance with their own bylaws. So they did that Thursday. They did that yesterday. They voted a new chairman and a new vice chairman. The responsibility that we have as Fiscal Court is the citizen appointment. I don't know if you got a copy. Did y'all get a copy? What all information do you have in there?
The letter or the bylaws?
The bylaws.
I don't either.
Okay. Bylaws basically state that we have the appointment position of the citizen appointment on the January of the even year. So I called, our citizen appointment is Martha Lewis. I called her and I explained to her that I was going to present another name for the citizen appointment for the board. She has served admirably for 7 years. But I feel that it's important that we change positions, and especially if it's, I will just read you off of their bylaws. The individual citizen appointed by the Marshall County Fiscal Court, said individual must be a registered voter and citizen of Marshall County and shall serve a term of 2 years beginning January 1 of even-numbered years. So that's our responsibility as a fiscal court, is to make those appointments. Now, there is a letter from the E911 board, and I'll read it to you. To whom it may concern, as a citizen position of the Marshall County E911 board held by Martha Lewis has expired, it is a request of the board that she be reappointed in this position. Martha has served for 7 years and has been a tremendous asset to the agency and to the emergency responders of Marshall County. Thank you for your consideration, Brian Kurtzinger, which is now the new chairman of the board. I appreciate the letter, but I talked to Martha, and I expressed my reason as far as making an appointment. I have somebody else that I wanted to appoint to the board who actually has both dispatching and law enforcement experience, and she was fine with that. I expressed to her that her service, volunteering 7 years on the board, was admirable, and she was fine with that. So the appointment that I want to make or present to the board, the fiscal court, is Jason Young, and I'll read this for you. Jason Young is a retired law enforcement officer and has prior dispatch experience. He's lived here in Marshall County in Brownsburg for 18 years. I contacted him, and I've had nothing but good response from both law enforcement community and the emergency management community that he's an outstanding individual as far as his character. What I like most about that too is that his experience he brings to the table. You actually have somebody that has experience both on the dispatcher side and the law enforcement side. So I think that would be a great addition to the board. He is a registered voter and has been at 18, and he currently resides and has for the past 18 years in this county. So that is our responsibility as a court. That's my recommendation, is for Jason.
That's for a 2-year term, is that, are those terms 2 years, all of them?
Well, here's the thing, with their bylaws, and I've made myself clear on this, it's doing business the right way. Procedural-wise, the 911 board, they discussed it in their minutes that they weren't in compliance with their own bylaws, but no action was taken. They wanted to present new or changes to the bylaws and the ordinance. That's fine. My advice was to get in compliance with their existing bylaws, in which they have. Our responsibility, because of the even-numbered year, and it's January, if we were to appoint, we needed to do that. So right now, the current bylaws is a 2-year. The individual would serve for 2 years. But they are looking to change.
Okay, but presently it's 2.
Yeah. So I would entertain a motion to accept Jason as the citizen appointment in the fiscal court to the E911 board.
So
Martha
moved
does
on,
not have a problem with that at all.
No.
so moved, Judge.
I'll second.
Second? You have,
I would just like to say, of course, you won't beat Martha Lewis as a citizen of this county. As a citizen appointment, I just feel like this young man, I have nothing against him, don't know him, but the citizen brings the citizen's view, not a law enforcement view,
Right.
not a dispatcher's view. They bring the citizen's view to the E911 board, and that would be my only reasoning behind either a citizen, another citizen outside law enforcement, or to continue Martha Lewis, who has done an exceptional job, has an exceptional educational background, and exceptional, been in our education system for years and years, and is really has the best interest of Marshall County and everything that she does.
I would even say that I agree with you. The citizen appointment is to have a citizen, to get that citizen opinion. Jason is a citizen. He's been a citizen for 18 years. The benefit that he brings is his experience. To be sitting on a board where you can actually, when you're in discussion of 911 issues, he can accomplish all three: dispatch, law enforcement, and being a citizen. No disrespect to Martha. I mean, she has done fabulous for 7 years. I mean, volunteerism in all communities. She volunteered her own time. It's admirable. But I feel that Jason, as far as a citizen appointment, has a lot of experience that he can bring to the table.
I think his past law enforcement experience and dispatcher experiences, and as you said, he is a citizen, and certainly that he speaks the language if he's dealt in dispatch and law enforcement, and sometimes to me that's over my head, some of the language and so forth, and I certainly think if you can speak the language, obviously you can make a
Right.
contribution.
And I just want to add this.
Martha Lewis has done a very good
Right.
job on that board.
We need to have somebody on that board, too, to help. When we discussed not being in compliance with the bylaws, the board was using a revised draft copy of the bylaws. They weren't even using the current bylaws. We have to move forward. We have to make sure that our business, our day-to-day business, is accurate. And I believe Jason will do that. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
You have a motion and a second? Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on new business, spay and neuter grant from Morris County Animal Shelter. Is Kip here? Okay. I suggest we table this. I want to communicate with her. This was just dropped off and put on the agenda, and there was no communication.
She had talked to me about it, Judge, and I told her, this is something that it's a grant program that they usually use, they participate in. And last year, time got away from them and they didn't get the application in time. But I told her because it's a grant agreement that the court needed to take action on it. They just didn't need to handle this internally. So, I think it allows us, it's a smaller amount this year. It's been up to like $3,000, but it seems like it's $600. $600 this year.
News in July, so it may be remaining part of the year.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, there is a 30-day. Oh, no, that's for the full accounting. This is the same agreement that we've used in the past. And as I've stated before, when in using the state grants such as this, you see references in it, in the contract about KRS 45A. KRS 45A is the provision for the model procurement code. The county has not adopted that, but we have to go by those guidelines when we're, as part of the agreement with this grant. And which is, it's more restrictive than what we do at the local level. We've never had an issue. I just like to put that disclaimer on.
I think in the grant too, it talks about compliance.
Yeah. This allows.
My question to Kip would be, are we in compliance?
Yeah, I believe we are, because the only thing that they worry about is the bills. That, what this does is allows for them to spend $660 for spay and neuters, and then they turn in the file on the animal, the proof that it's been done from the doctor's statement, and then we supply proof of payment for it, and they reimburse us for that $660 worth of spay and neuters.
My concern is that if we're not in compliance, and that's the question that I would have with her, and that she understands, is that by not being in compliance, it opens up a whole
Whole new door.
new door
Yeah.
that the county needs to be aware of.
Yeah, I think if you wanted to table it till the February 1st, that still gives them time to get those spay and neuters completed and us get the bills to them before the end of June.
We need to, act by then, probably.
Yeah.
Just by the time we act and everything gets approved, they'll need some time to perform the spay and neuters, and of course, they're doing them on a regular basis now, so.
Yeah,
But it's something we don't need to miss, and that should be soon enough, I guess. I didn't know if there was a deadline for putting this grant in. Got it
I don't-
dated December 30, I don't see one, but
Yeah.
you gotta make all the expenditures by June the 30th. That's the only deadline I see. But usually there's a deadline to apply.
yeah.
Any more questions on that? We'll put it on the agenda for February 1st. Next on their new business, the Bryansburg Fire Protection District Audit Report. That was for your review. Y'all get a copy of that? Next on the agenda on their new business is the Sheriff's Office Vehicle Report. Did y'all get a copy of that?
Yes.
I do have some questions about this. the, there's a whole, this particular vehicle, and I believe we're talking, I believe about Strader's vehicle, the one that was hit by the deer. The total vehicle damage, I believe, or the price of the vehicle was $5,700.
Right.
The damage by the deer, I believe our local estimate on that damage was $5,000.
They stopped counting whenever it got over 75% of the cost of the vehicle, and that's KCO's guidelines.
That's their-
KCO has contacted us, said that it is a total just off the deer strike alone.
I believe that's actually state law, that if a vehicle is over 75%, it's considered totaled. My concern, you brought up last meeting that the vehicle was hit by a deer, and then it was involved in a second collision. My question on this is, what policy, if any, are we following to determine if we've got a vehicle, a county vehicle, that is involved in a collision, that we make sure that if it's fitting that category? Because again, what we do today will hold up in a court of law. A vehicle that reaches 75% of damage or more is considered total. Do we continue putting that deputy in that vehicle?
It was consecutive nights, and at that point, I mean, I'm not a body expert by any means of the matter. And if you look at the vehicle, it just looks cosmetic damage is what it looks like. And it was still drivable at that point. And like I said, the person that we go to get the estimate,
Right.
that was consecutive nights, so
I understand that. I'm not a adjuster and a body mechanic either. My question is, what policies do we have that you have in place to deal with that?
as soon as possible, we get it to the person that fixes it to do the assessment of what it is. And on his recommendation, if he says it's gonna total the vehicle, we park the car. And that's exactly what we did whenever we got that estimate from him, that it's going to total it.
So
And we-
you have a policy that says that in a collision, you take it to an adjuster, a local individual, as soon as possible to get an estimate.
Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, that's the protocol that we follow, that as soon as we can get it to the person that fixes our vehicles, because I have one person that fixes them because he's been very good about when we have damage to get them back on the road as quickly as possible.
At what point do we, as administrators, say that we do not have the experience to determine if a vehicle is at that threshold? That we use caution, we take those measures, that we don't put an employee in a compromising position to go out, drive his vehicle, and end up in a worse collision, which actually, there was a second collision, but I'm assuming the deputy was okay.
Sure.
My question is, as we're looking at all this, is policies protect the employee, and it's our responsibility as administrators to make sure that our policies are updated. That when this information was sent over, that's the first thing that caught my attention, was that the damage by the deer was so excessive that it immediately put it in the over the 75%.
And as soon as we got the estimate on that and we were told that it's gonna total it, we parked the vehicle.
Okay. Do you follow the county's policy on county vehicles?
No, I have my own.
You have your own? I think as a county, our responsibility, if we have county vehicles, there is stake that we have to make sure that if our county employees are in county vehicles, if we have a county policy, that's identified. There are,
More than glad to change that, Judge.
There-
You just send the recommendations to me and I'll change that.
well, the thing is that it's to protect the employee. All right, what if this individual was in a collision with a resident in this
My
county?
apologies to my officer, and I will change that. Thank you for
Yes.
your advisement. I appreciate it.
I'm speaking to the commissioners now. Our responsibility is to make sure that we do not put our employees in a compromising position. This is policy review. This packet is sent over, and it's put together good. It's got all the information, but to me, I look beyond that. I look at the policy, and I'll tell you why. We had another deputy that had a collision Saturday. I found out by a citizen. I called you on Monday, and I asked you personally. You told me that a deputy did have a collision, a single vehicle collision. I asked if he was okay, and you said he was. Wednesday, we get, not to my office, but to the treasurer's office, we get information that the deputy is hurt. I get a copy of the report, and even on the report, it states that the deputy complained of injury and was going to go to the hospital. We have a duty to make sure that our employees are taken care of. And we do
Judge,
that.
may I interject something here?
Hang on a second.
Well, no, because I want to clarify something,
We
because
go-
I was
just
there
hang-
just hold on just a second.
Just-
I was there at the wreck, and I asked that deputy, "Are you okay?" I asked him, I bet you 10 times, "I'm fine." It wasn't until the next day that he called in and said he was hurt. Okay? And he did not disclose to me, because if he would have disclosed to me that, then different actions would have been taken.
Okay. I heard you. Saturday was the collision. You found out he was hurt on Sunday. I spoke to you on Monday. My point exactly, we have to have policies to drive how we do business, okay? Policies are to protect. I mean, that's as simple as it is. We have a standard that we have to operate by. So do the departments that work under our county government. We have a policy in place. There's things that have to be met. If they're not being met, then we have to address that. So my advice would be either adopt the county's policy. I mean, this is stuff that we have to think about. We can talk about it later, but sending over information, it needs to be accurate. And the conversation that I had with you was not accurate. We owe it to our employees on that matter.
So in other words, you're saying I'm lying to you.
Excuse me?
So in other words, you said I lied to you, didn't tell you the truth.
Based off of your facts, you didn't give me the correct information.
He took the day off the next day because he was sore. Now, whether he went to a doctor, I don't know. He didn't disclose that.
It's in the report.
Okay, and Chief Deputy is the one who prepared that report.
Yep.
My apologies to the court. I'm trying to do right, but evidently everything that I do is wrong. And I don't know what else to do, Judge. I'm trying to adhere to your wishes and your requests, and every turn that I get it slammed back in my face. And I apologize. I'm trying to do. I really am. Trying to do.
I have this on the agenda as information only. The vehicle issue, there's options that we can take. Even though it's listed as totaled, there are options. Now, as far as the deputy right now, does he have, talking about Strader, this is the first vehicle. Does he have a vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. I believe the collision on Monday, or Saturday, was that Malone's vehicle?
Yes.
And I believe that too have we got information on that?
We do not have anything back of yet. I'm still waiting on it. The adjuster came, took pictures of Deputy Strader's car. While he was there, he's not assigned to the case, but he did go ahead and go take pictures of Deputy Malone's vehicle. We're just waiting for KCO to return with their information on what the estimated damage is there. We do have an estimate from the repair, the person that we do the repairs with, and I can't remember right off the top of my head what it is, but we do have that at this point. We just got that recently. And I don't know if did David send that to you? Because I'd asked him to.
I don't think he sent the quote from the body shop.
Okay, I've asked him to send that to you, so I'll try to get that to you today.
But does he, Malone, does he have a vehicle?
Right now, we do, because I have an officer that's off because of a work-related issue. We don't know when she's going to return. We're having problems with the doctor releasing her. Possibility there may be another surgery involved. Middle of next month is when she goes back. We'll see from there. Don't know, but right now, we're able to make do with what we've got. But if they release her, then yes, we're going to be down a vehicle and have to make some arrangements.
Okay. Is there anything in this package that you sent that you want to add to or discuss about?
That's all the information. I mean, you asked for justification of why we wanted cars replaced. That's it.
Okay.
And the only other option, or the only other thing that needs to be taken care of is we called your office and you said you wanted to address the court on what you wanted to do with Strader's car. If you wanted to take the check for minus 500 deductible, or a check for the cost of fixing it and basically buy the car back.
Right. And those totals, we should have those totals. I believe I talked to David. The other issue was the restitution check. Was the tow bill paid out of that restitution check?
Yes, it is. I had found out later that, yes, that was included in it.
It was included
Yes.
in the
The $1,200 included the tow bill,
and what was the tow bill?
$185.
So I wasn't aware of a restitution check, you mean from the four-wheeler?
Well, I wasn't really aware of it until after it done happened.
So I think
The-
what we're saying is what you brought up last Tuesday. We weren't aware of that information.
Exactly,
found
that's
out
what I'm saying.
afterwards.
I didn't, the accident happened on Saturday night. The gentleman was arrested. That was over the weekend. Then Monday morning, while he's in court, a deal was worked out, and I knew nothing of it until after the fact when the kid showed up and said, "Here's money." I had no clue what was involved in it.
And I understand that. You didn't have any clue, or you weren't involved in what happened over at the judicial building, but when you came to court last Tuesday, you had received a restitution check.
At that point, yeah.
Yeah. That's what he's, I believe,
Yeah,
referring
that-
to.
I mean,
Yeah.
That information wasn't brought up last Tuesday.
I just didn't understand fully when it was discussed at the last meeting how a total vehicle next day could be involved in another accident. I didn't mind.
Well, because it was consecutive nights,
Right.
and at that
Right,
point.
I mean,
we
but
didn't-
it was reported to us, it was the vehicle was totaled, and
That
I mean,
was-
you've explained that, it was cosmetic, and we couldn't tell that it was total, and I understand that answers some of my questions, but initially, at the last meeting, I thought, well, what is a total vehicle being used as a pursuit vehicle for? I mean, you answered my questions, it was cosmetic, I understand it more clearly now, but I was a little confused at the.
Yeah, I mean,
the
if
last
you've got
meeting.
the copy of what he's
Right.
got, you can look at
Right.
it and see.
Oh, I mean, I know nothing about that. I'm probably the most lost mechanic in here at this table.
I'd agree with that.
And the reason I'm asking about the options of
Thanks for the second, Judge.
the vehicle is because whatever you decide to do with it, I mean, if you want to put it back on the road after fixing, if you want to keep the vehicle,
Right.
that's fine. But if not, I've got to make arrangements to get everything out of the vehicle and salvage what we can to reuse. Plus, The tires that are on it's got less than 4,000 miles on it. I would definitely like to get those removed and put older ones back on it to, save costs down the road that way.
Right. And I believe Cadeco is waiting,
Waiting for
on
this
our
decision, yeah.
response. So the options that we have is we can either accept, I believe it was 5,700.
Minus the deductible,
Minus
it's
the
5,200
deductible.
and change.
We can accept
Does that amount
that.
include the check we got from the four-wheeler?
No, that does not include
So,
that.
wouldn't
And
that
that
figure
was-
need to be added and that decision be made?
Was that 1,200?
A little
that
over
goes in the
1,200,
same
yeah.
pot?
And that will be what will be forwarded to y'all next month.
Or we can scrap the vehicle, which would be a reduced amount, I think 43 or
46.
4,600. And then the vehicle, I guess we're buying that back or we're keeping it if we scrap it. So that's something to,
This is one had a little over 100,000 miles.
It was one that I was not going to replace.
It's like 102.
105.
2006, was it 2006,
No, it's a 2010.
2010?
Decide if you can put it back together and use it as even as extra.
And there are parts, I've talked to adjusters, there are parts out there that, we can get aftermarket parts, but then you get into putting aftermarket parts on a vehicle that's used in, this line of work.
Well, the person we use to fix our cars, he uses quality parts that's supposed to go back on it. I agree with you. I'm not an advocate of using aftermarkets. It's cheaper made because of that reason.
There are some things that we can use, but if it's important parts, I agree.
You need a complete bid or quote or estimate on, you said they stopped at 75%. Do we need to take that all the way through and see exactly how many dollars it takes to put the car back?
Obviously, if you're making that decision, yes, you do.
Yeah.
Roadworthy state, and then that would tell you a whole lot. If your money you're getting for insurance and restitution or whatever turns into about what it'll take to fix it.
Right.
But we want to just fix it, since it's a little bit lower miles than some of our others. That'd be the only thing I would.
If we
think
do
could
the buyback plus the restitution money, you're at 5,600. And it's gonna cost more than 5,600 to fix it.
What is the buyback price?
5,700. I mean, no, 5,700 is what the value of the car buy. If you deduct what they will, if we want it back, it's 4,600 and change. I think
That's what that's my experience. Has been, the insurance company doesn't want them, and it's just
Oh, they'll scrap it. Yeah, that's exactly what they'll do,
It'll give you
scrap it.
$100 for
And-
them.
and
I
there's-
bought two of
there's-
them back for $100.
Well,
Those are
in
vehicles.
doing that, you lose the parts that are on this vehicle. You see, the advantage, if you just scrap it, we get the vehicle back. It may not be that we fix it because of the dollar amount may be high, but that vehicle has parts on it that we can use. for other vehicles.
We have done that in the past, use them as a parts car because the normal things that go bad are cooling fans,
Yeah.
alternators,
And I
water
believe-
pumps, motors.
This vehicle from the adjuster, he didn't see any aftermarket parts on it, so I'm assuming it would be the original
That's
manufacturer
the
parts.
tires.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's got a good set of tires on it. I'd hate to give those away
yeah.
for what they cost.
So we do need to make a decision as far as what we're gonna do with the vehicle, because the insurance company's standing by. We have another decision that we're gonna have to make in the future as far as, the fleet of the sheriff's department, but for now, I agree, I don't wanna lose the parts that are on the vehicle and the tires that are on the vehicle. The position that I think we're in my opinion, is we scrap it, keep it, and use the parts on it if it's available for another vehicle.
$4,600, if we purchase a vehicle back from the insurance, we buy the vehicle back after it's totaled, is that? I wouldn't think that's hard and fast. Like I say, my experience, which has been very little, but in 2 different cases, I bought the vehicle back for $100, and when a limb fell on it, and, you know, nothing was wrong with it, you know, just after the ice storm, and I know that's negotiable, in those 2 cases it was.
Well, the CAECO has already said this is your 2 options. We'll
So
cut you a check.
CAECO, who we're dealing with?
Yeah,
Okay. And
They've
and
already
I-
said the
I
2
don't
options.
think that vehicle, I mean, my thinking is that vehicle, if they say that that's a buyback value, you know, CAECO's not gonna get $4,600, you know.
Not even close.
Because they're gonna scrap it, and what are they gonna get? You know, $300, $150,
do
$200?
you know what it is a ton for scrap, Bob? Because I don't.
Anything now?
Yeah, I realize
ain't
that.
bringing nothing.
That's my exact
Yeah.
point. If we're buying it back, so obviously CAECO, you know, I would think that's negotiable at that $4,600, because we all know that we're gonna get $150 scrap, and CAECO's gonna get $150 scrap. So, you know, there's a big, you know, I think CAECO sells it back to us for $300, you know. Would be my thinking. If I was CAECO, I'm making $50 instead of, but there's no way they're gonna get
Well, like I said,
$4,600.
$5,700 for the value of the car.
Yeah.
Minus our deductible, $500, or CAECO will let us keep the vehicle for $1,100. They get $1,100, and we get the rest.
Okay, I thought it was
See what I'm saying?
4,000.
No, that's what the county will get, will be $4,600.
Okay,
So
so we'd buy it
they're
back
out of-
for $1,100.
Right.
Okay, I understood 46, okay.
No,
That's closer than, that's $3,000 closer than what I was.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's
Okay, yeah.
4,600.
Not as big a deal there. I
Yeah,
was
4,600
thinking-
is what
Okay.
CAECO would
Okay.
give to the county, and then we get to keep the car.
Okay, good deal.
So whatever y'all want to do.
That's-
I think we need to keep it, we need it. Parks.
Right, I understand that, but I would've thought we were dealing with
And
$3,000
And I will tell
difference.
you, as auctions that we've had when we've gotten rid of them, the most I have ever gotten out of a Crown Vic is $2,200. That's the most I've ever got. Most of them are $800-900, and that's it. They do not hold their resale value at all.
Well, I think entertain a motion to scrap it, keep it,
Just use it as a parts vehicle.
use it as a parts vehicle, and
I'll make that motion.
That's your recommendation, you want the tires off of it.
Oh,
What are the tires, value of the tires?
On state contract price, a set of tires for us is $5 1/4.
Okay, that's $5 1/4 back of your $1,100 that CAECO's gonna charge us. We scrap it, you're getting a whole lot closer to the junk price and the tire price and making sense, and don't lose anything.
Now,
Just
do
to clarify, the 5,700, then we would only get 5,200, we'd have to take our deductible off, right?
and CAECO gets the car.
That's correct. And then the 46, we get the entire 46.
Yes.
No deductible, I mean, that's the deductible coming
That's,
out and
that's,
everything,
that's
basically.
built into it. The
To me,
$500
yeah, to
deductible's
me,
built
then
into
instead
it.
of being $1,100, you're actually looking at $700.
And we got a
$600.
$550 set of tires on it, I mean, that's almost a no-brainer.
$600.
Yeah, it looks like $600
Yeah.
to me, anyway,
And-
that's the
and
way I'd look at it.
also-
Or we're making money out of it.
Second, we're about to make money, is what we're about to do.
But commissioners, keep this in mind too, we will have to have somebody to de-install all the equipment as well. That's a cost that's gonna be incurred as well. That's pulling the cage, console, all the electronics out of it, because we can reuse most of that.
Well, we're not at all, wouldn't even consider like at least looking at seeing exactly what it'd take to put it back on the road? I mean, even after you scrap it?
I can get an estimate from our body man to see what it would take to get it, completely repair it.
is the urgency from CAECO, or can they wait?
I'd say that they, when they call, they want a decision pretty quickly.
How quick can you get that information?
I'll try to get it by the end of the day if I can. I can't guarantee that, but
But
I'll
is that,
try
I mean,
to.
if we vote to scrap it, and I mean, there's no reason we can't do that later, is there?
I don't see why not.
You can make a decision anytime you get ready, you leave it sitting down there, and before you take a part off of it, just make sure that,
Well, the reason for Keiko's urgency is because of a storage fee. That's what, $10 or $15 a day?
At least.
Well, right now, there's no storage fee on it because it's sitting in my parking lot.
Okay.
I had them bring it to the lot and park it right there. That way we wouldn't incur that cost.
Well, then why don't we get that information and then February 1st?
we got a
Review it.
motion, I think, on the, have you want to withdraw, or?
Motion and no second at this time.
Motion and no second. Okay,
Table it to.
table it till February 1st. All right,
Who does the county's body work, Kevin?
I use Slack's Body Shop, so I use
Who?
Slack's Body Shop.
Slights?
Slacks.
Slack, okay.
And the reason being is because we can get it in and get it out in about 2 days' time, because they exclusively work on that vehicle and get it back on the road.
I think we can go in the recess for the public hearing. Before we go into that, Kevin, if after court, if you can come by the office, we can come by my office. You and I, we can sit down and talk.
Okay.
Okay. Just that we're on the same sheet of music. I'll make a motion to go into recess for our public hearing.
Motion going to recess, Judge.
Second.
In favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Okay.
Which public hearing are we,
This is
Road.
the alley.
okay.
Pardon me?
We call to order Marshall County Fiscal Court public hearing, January 15th, 2016. Public
Seems like
hearing.
you've been here long.
Yeah. Let me read the news. Public hearing notice, Marshall County Fiscal Court. The Marshall County Fiscal Court will hold a public hearing at approximately 10:30 a.m. on Friday, January 15th, 2016, in the Joe Williams Fiscal Courtroom, Marshall County Courthouse, Benton, Kentucky. The purpose of the hearing is to receive comments either for or against the county officially closing a platted but undeveloped alleyway located in the CM Draffin subdivision in the Draffinville area. Anyone unable to attend may submit written comments prior to the hearing to Kevin Neal, Judge Executive, Marshall County Courthouse, 1101 Main Street, Benton, Kentucky, 42025. Do you have the road review? Do you want to read the road review? Do you have it? You don't?
No, I don't have it. I will if you pass it to me. January 11th, 2016, to the Marshall County Fiscal Court. Ray, proposed abolishment of 4th Street, an unimproved platted roadway located in the CM Draffin subdivision. During the January 5th, 2016 session of the Marshall County Fiscal Court, Attorney Zach Bryan requested the court to relinquish whatever right or interest the county might have in 4th Street between Block 3 and 4, an undeveloped roadway platted in the CM Draffin subdivision. Slide 752. Advertisement for public hearing was placed in the January 12, 2016 issue of the Tribune Courier. Notice for the hearing was posted at the following locations: County Courthouse, Chomperama in Draffinville, King Brothers Grocery Store in Draffinville, and the business located at 2687 US Highway 641 North. County Road Engineer Russell York and appointed road viewers Bobby Gifford, Casey Counts, and Josh Tubbs all viewed the road. During the on-site inspections on January 8, 2016, and January 12, 2016, the following observations were made. 4th Street's platted location is approximately 390 feet south of Steeplechase Lane on the west side of US Highway 641 North. Approximately 120 feet of the platted 300-foot roadway are currently used by a blacktop parking lot with access to the highway being a 22-foot wide blacktop entrance with an existing culvert. Fourth Street is not listed as a county-maintained roadway, and it appears that no improvements to the roadway have been made by the Marshall County Fiscal Court. Fourth Street is not recognized as a roadway under any names, nor does it exist within the 911 database or GIS data. It should be noted that the request of the county to relinquish whatever right of interest it might have in Fourth Street was specifically directed to the 300-foot platted section located between blocks 3 and 4 of the CM Draft subdivision, slide 752. Abolishing the proposed section of the 4th Street does not appear to deny access to adjacent properties or potentially landlocked surrounding owners. Based on the information presented and the observations made during our inspections, our conclusion is the 4th Street in CM Draft subdivision serves no public purpose in the county. Therefore, it is our recommendation that the fiscal court abolish the proposed portion of the 4th Street. Respectfully, signed Casey Counts, Josh Tubbs, and Bobby Gifford, and Russell York.
This time we'll take comments 4.
Members of the court, Zach Bryan on behalf of GNR Ventures LLC, which is now the owner of the, used to be the S&S Muffler Shop. When I raised this issue to the court, you all requested that I contact the adjacent owners, the southern owners, the Kings. I believe they're here today, and my understanding is they're also in agreement with this. Just like the county attorney just read, there's no interest that the county has in this road. All we're asking the county to do is relinquish whatever interest so that the property may be marketed and developed to fulfill, the potential that that property has got there. So I appreciate this court taking this matter before them, and on behalf of my clients, would say that we're in favor of this.
Would you agree with me, based on your research, that since the development, or since this property was platted, over 15 years have passed with no attempt to develop or make that any use of any public entity?
Yes, well more than 15 years, I would say.
Okay.
And the Kings, you agree to those statements? Thank you. Thank you for coming today. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Any more take comments 4? Take comments 4. Okay. Take comments against. Take comments against. Take comments against. All right. Make a motion to adjourn.
So
Public
moved,
hearing.
Judge.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
What was the motion?
Adjourn the public hearing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Panic there, I'm sorry.
I'll call Fiscal Court back to session. We're at the Treasurer's Report.
December 31st, 2015, we had a book balance in the general fund of $1,372,254.21. Road fund, $164,032.90. Jail fund, $172,804.85. Grant fund, $3,588.16. 911 fund, $24,592.30. Occupational tax administrator, $2,436.25. Veterans Band Fund, $2,363.38. ABC Fund, $8,939.83. Building Inspection, $2,862.65, for a total reportable funds of $3,751,874.53.
Heard the Treasurer's Report. Make a motion to approve.
Motion to accept the treasurer's report, subject to audit.
Second.
Favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any discussion? Motion carries. Encumbrance report.
For the quarter ending December 31st, 2015, the general fund had an encumbrance balance of $21,285.72. Road fund had a balance of $29,201.89. Jail fund, $20,966.90. And 911, $354.11, and building inspection, $350.65 for $72,159.27 encumbered balance.
Make a motion to approve the encumbrance report.
Make that motion, Judge.
Any second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is payroll fund, accounts receivable report.
I completed this report on the 12th, so it shows that the sheriff's office owes $94,573.80. However, yesterday he did deliver payment for that amount, so for December 31st, 2015, all is paid.
Make a motion to approve the payroll fund.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, treasurer's quarterly report.
My quarterly report reflects a total December 31st, 2015 balance of $3,751,874.53, which concurs with the treasurer's report.
Make a motion to accept the treasurer's quarterly report.
Motion to accept, Judge.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the intra-fund transfer.
I'm going to ask for permission to move $250,000 from the Occupational Tax Administrative Fund to the Road Fund, and then $44,000 from the Occupational Tax Fund to the 911 Fund. Both are budgeted subsidy payments.
Make a motion to approve the intra-fund
Motion
transfer.
to approve the transfers.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is approve payment of the bills.
Motion to pay the bills, Judge.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. At this point, we're going to go into executive session. It's actually for personnel and real estate.
Motion to go in executive session, Judge.
Second the motion.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
CFSB proudly brings you Kasasa. What's Kasasa? It's an easy way to earn cash, no talent necessary. It's like a participation trophy that's actually worth something. You do everyday things, we reward you in cash each month. That's free Kasasa checking. Ask for free Kasasa checking at CFSB.
Good. Bring Morris County Fiscal Court back to session. Make a motion to accept sealed bids on Calvert City Health Department building in Calvert City. And we'll set the date for February 16th, 4:30, for the bids to be in by the day before. Entertain a motion.
Make that motion, Judge.
Second.
Any discussion?
16th, right?
It's, no,
Well, I'm sorry.
bids to be,
February 16th is our next fiscal court meeting. The bids to be in by 4:30, the day before, which will
On
be
the
February
15th.
14th.
15th.
yes.
14th or 15th? 15th,
15th, yes.
sorry.
Clearly stated that we have the right to reject all bids.
Yeah,
Correct.
Always do.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
Motion and a second, yes.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Entertain a motion to approve to move forward in having Wayne Shelton Associates audit sanitation number 2.
So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Gentlemen, I'm gonna take a
That's
motion.
at your
Judge.
discretion, Judge.
Judge, I've made some phone calls while y'all were out, and I've got your numbers of what you requested. I'll have that copy sent to you. But talking with our body man on Deputy Strader's car with the strike in the back and the deer strike, the total cost is $6193.86. The deer strike itself was $76.32. That's more than the 75%. So taking the 4,600 and change, I rounded numbers off, and the 1,200 of restitution, you're talking $5,800 is what we're going to get in return on that. And roughly it's going to cost $6,200 to fix. So that's a $400 difference. So if y'all want to, with those numbers, what you want to do with that car, at least you're informed now to possibly make a decision where we can do something as quickly as possible on that would be appreciated.
I was wondering, $400.
$400.
You have a car back on the road and we can scrap it later.
No brainer.
Yep.
So
Do we need to make a motion? 'Cause we,
You're going to do something different than you did before, correct?
okay. Motion.
Whatever motion you make now will override what you did earlier.
I thought that we had moved to scrap the car.
I think you tabled it, did you not?
Well, that's correct, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But if we scrap the car, we're gonna get the 4,600, and then we get the 12, and then we got the 400, and then add that, and it's all 6,200 then. So, I would move that we
Basically, the county will be out $400 to fix the car.
fix the car.
I would think $400 to fix it, to get the car back on the street.
Rather than
That's
replace it
I
for
would-
$20,000 or buy a new one. Well,
I would move that we go ahead
That we
and
don't have.
repair,
20,000 won't buy a new
scrap the
one.
car, and then
Yeah.
move
Wouldn't
forward
come
with
close.
repairs, and
Okay.
back on the road.
Do I have a second motion on that? Second, any discussion?
It'll be a little bit more than the 400 because of the tow bill was coming out of that restitution, so.
Well,
it
true,
Might be
yeah.
more like close to 600, but still, it's yes.
All those in favor? Say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Do you want to contact KCO, or do you want us to contact KCO?
Go ahead and you contact him, because I know David was waiting.
Okay.
You've already contacted him, yeah.
Okay, and I also have estimates from Deputy Malone's car. When the ambulance hit him, that's $1,884.53, and I think we already
Wait a minute.
have.
Ambulance hit him.
Yeah, the ambulance had backed over his car. When was that? Yeah, quite a ways back, and I think we already got payment on that yet? Okay. And that was, minimal damage, and the ambulance service is the one who taken that on. But this one, Saturday, is $3,107.16. So both of those combined, it's $4,991.69, and it's a 2008. So we're just waiting for KCO, what they want to do with that older car. And of course, his is like 140, no, it was 150. Yeah, 158,000 miles on it. So my assumption at that point, that's going to be beyond the 75% as well.
Yeah, I've talked to them already before and shared my ownership of that, it is going to be over the 75%.
Okay.
They're going to get all that together for us officially, and contact me again probably this afternoon, Monday morning.
The ambulance damage, was that cosmetic?
Yeah, it was just the right front fender. The ambulance was turning around, and they didn't look behind him. When they did, they went down the side of the front fender on the left side, or the right side, excuse me, and wrinkled the fender. But
Yeah, I think that's in the.
yeah, but the one Saturday, of course, that was more extensive, and again, he was extremely lucky because the sign fell and actually hit the hood, thank goodness, instead of coming in the cockpit area. And that was one that I was gonna replace because of high mileage and maintenance costs and stuff.
Okay. So we can get Strader's vehicle back on the road. I would assume that Malone, who is using a vehicle for somebody that's off, the vehicle that Strader's he's currently using, we can get Malone
Yeah,
in.
if that's the court's wishes, once we get that other one fixed, we can switch back out and he's got a
Yeah.
vehicle to drive if the other officer comes back on from
Right.
workman's comp. So we've got that covered.
Okay. And then we've got the numbers as far as Malone's vehicle. Let's table Malone's vehicle right now.
Yeah, I mean, we ain't got anything official, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
give you those numbers.
Okay. Gentlemen, I gotta be in
Move we
Mayfield.
adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.